Yeah, I welcome everyone to today's episode of Common Sense Matters with Kelvin. Like I always say, this is where we reason, where we say things the way they truly are for clear understanding. You're welcome. Today, I want us to look at local food discoveries. Yes, local food discoveries. And some of us were like, local food? Yes. If you look around your surroundings, your locality, your community, your region, there are common foods that we eat. Various regions, various tribes, we have local foods that we are very comfortable with, very common with us. We eat, we enjoy them. Everyone has them in their region, yes. But today, for the purpose of this topic, I want to limit this topic to black people. Yes, to black people. I repeat, I want to limit this topic today to black people and to our region and to our country in particular, because most of the examples will be coming from here. So let's go. When I say limiting the topic to black people, now let me tell you this. It is because our counterparts, you know what I'm saying? Our counterparts are doing fantastically well in food discovery. Yes, they are doing well in food discovery. Said we'll start doing like that. You know what I'm saying? But for now, let's look inward. Local food discoveries. Now, when I say I'm going to limit it to our own region, because these regions we understand it very well, but whatever we're saying here is applicable to everyone. So we're going to be looking at our regions, the kind of foods that we eat, local foods. Because if you look around, let me take for example, we have regions that I'm going to be mentioning because we understand the kind of food that is common in those regions. So by the time we use them as example, other people will understand what we are talking about, especially when we don't mention your region, but you will understand what we are saying. So that's it. So now, when we talk about local foods, those food that we enjoy, we eat and lick our fingers because we enjoy them. Every of this food, doesn't matter the region now, we are handed over to us by our ancestors. Yes, our ancestors handed over these foods to us. Now let's look at them. I want to take an example from our country. For example, we have three major tribes here. The Wazebia, you hear? Yes. The Wad is though the beer. So we can use them as example for now. But whatever example we use or we do is applicable to other regions because we have several other regions and tribes. But whatever we say here is applicable to all. Thank you. So now, let's take the Yorubas for example. This local food called amala and ewedu. Yeah, we all know this, right? It's a local food. And if I ask, do they still eat this food till today? The answer is yes. Was it handed over by their ancestors? The answer is yes. So we know this. If you go to the north, the Hausas, there's this food called tuo and mia kubewa, that's okra, right? Kubewa soup. And tuo is a common food, commonly consumed by the Hausas. Do they eat it at this moment? The answer is yes. Handed over to them by their ancestors. Yes. Now, let's look at the Igbos. They eat this food, fufu, that's apple and onubu, that's bitter leaf soup. Yes. Do they still eat this food till today? The answer is yes. Handed over to them by their ancestors. So what are we saying here? All these foods were handed over to us by our ancestors. Now the question is this. What have we done to either replace them or to provide alternative, similar food that will have the same status as these ones? But when you look around, You notice that much of that is not happening. Then now we ask, how come this food I mentioned, look at the foods I mentioned, somehow they are still standing out today as one major food widely consumed by that region? Yes. So these foods we are talking about didn't fall from heaven. They were handed over to us by our ancestors. So if you look around you, you see large forests, bushes, plants around us. Our ancestors had to discover these ones, pass through the rigorous process they went through to make them to become the food that we all have come to know today. It sounds interesting, right? Yes, it is interesting. But we can also do what they did. But the question is this: how come we haven't taken any painstaking step or effort to convert one plant into a consumable food that we can all be proud of today? Okay, so let's look into how our ancestors, how they come about getting this food and making them what they are that we eat them today. Maybe by the time we look at the process they went through, maybe we may begin to understand why nobody is delving into such venture today. It's kind of funny, but it's truth. So, these people are ancestors. These people, from what I can understand, they acted and did everything they did with their common sense intact. I repeat, our ancestors that discovered all these foods and handed them over to us that we're still eating them till today. They did that, discovered all this food when they were acting with full common sense. Yes, because you can't tell me when you look at the process they went through to get these foods to our table today that they did not do well in their reasoning. Remember, this is where we reason. We come here to reason so we can begin to understand these things. They did all that, went through the rigorous process, get this food discovered, and handed over to us. Today, all we do is consume them. Haven't done anything to get alternative or a replacement or another one. Let it be side by side. Let's have something going. Because these things we are talking about, this food we are talking about, they are all surrounded in our vicinity, in our locality, in our regions, our farms, our bushes, our forests. They are there, plants, natural plants. All you need is find and identify one that you feel and you can convert something out of it and make something good out of it. Then you can invest something. You can, invent new thing. These ancestors I'm talking about, look at what they did. I'll take one example. Look at the palm oil. We all know palm oil today. We all know how important palm oil is today. We also know how expensive it is in the market. How did it come about? Our ancestors, not only that they identified the palm tree, I even did a program on palm tree. You can check that out. Yes, a program on palm tree. Now, they identify the palm tree. Not only that, they have to get the fruit. Getting the fruit is not just what you just can just do easily because you need to look at the thorns. It has thorns on it. But they still get the fruit out. Not only getting the fruit out, they also went to process the fruit. They pass it through boiling. I don't know how they get that idea, but they pass it through boiling. And after that, they have to mash. You see them pound it. They mash, pound. Man, these people tried. Not only bound, then they still pass through process of separation because you need to separate the shell where you have the kernel. That's another topic another day because kernel oil is there too. Then you have the separations and you sieve the oil. And now you have the oil with us. What a wonderful feat. That's what I'm talking about. Now let's look at other plants. Let's take cassava for example. You have the cassava stem. They identify the stem, that this plant is useful. And not only that they get out the cassava from the ground, these people are wonderful. They went through the process of trying to, soak. They got the idea of soaking to soften the cassava. For them to get the fufu that we'll eat today, they have to soften the cassava. And not only that one, they have to keep it in the water for some period to get softened. And sometimes get smelling, get fermented. At this point, I tell you this, every person today will back out. Today's generation, this is a point of backing out. When they get smelly, oh no. But these people went ahead, wash, and kind of, press and separate all those stuff, separation, the chaff from the weed and whatever. You know what they do? But at the end of the day, they get it out. And that's where you have your fufu today. And they didn't stop there. They still have to pass it through boiling and pounding and all of that. But today we enjoy these things. That's for the fufu aspects. Now let's look at the gari that we eat today. The same cassava, they went on that process by drying it. After washing, peeling the cover, they peel the skin and all that. So they wash, they dry them. After dry, they went through grinding. After grinding, they went through frying. What a wonderful feat. They did all this. Today, you and I have the gari today. Look at how expensive gari has become today in our markets. How come we don't have alternative? There are other sorts of starch. There are so many plants out there. What if we have a competitive replacement? Something that can compete with it? Maybe by now it will be cheap because we will have gari and so many things that look like it that also serve the same purpose of food. But it's just that gari. And look at how expensive it is today. Our ancestors handed over these things to us. Let's take another example. I talked about onubu soup, Jonathan, right? Bitter leaf soup, right? Now, today, let's look at today's youths. You go to the forest and you pick this leaf and you taste it. Is that bitter? It's very bitter. I tell you this. At that point, it's a no. Yes, it's a no. Everyone will back out. But our ancestors did not back out. It did not deter them. They went ahead, washing the bitterness off. They even parboil it just to take the bitterness off. And today, you have the onubu soup that we all lick and eat with fun. What a wonderful feat, like I said. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. What have we done to get and replace this food or probably discover new ones? Because all the forests and bushes around us, millions of plants around us, just feel that our ancestors discovered and handed over to us that we are still eating till this minute. I encourage us. Let us look inward. I'm saying this to awaken our consciousness. Remember, this is Common Sense Matters with Kelvin. Yes, we are with reason. By the time we ponder on these things, we'll begin to understand that yes, we haven't actually done enough, but we need to borrow a leaf from our ancestors and engage our brain, engage our common sense, so we can begin to ponder. You can look around you. You can make the next discovery. It might be you, it might be me, if I can tell. But I indulge us. Let's look inward and start pondering, start thinking. What is that thing that we can create? What is that thing that we can discover? Which plant can we convert to a food that will be enjoyed by all? And generations to come will be proud of us. That yes, this generation discovers XYZ food and handed over to them. That will, further prompt them to want to challenge themselves by discovering the ones around them too. What a fabulous thing to do. I thank everyone listening today. Thank you on this one. And I see you in the next episode.